All right. Speaking of, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, right out of the gate. Sorry about that. Sorry, everybody. Nut warning, please. Trump's nut is the stuff of nightmares. Viewer discretion is advised. He looks, he doesn't look pale or tired or confused or, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Like, yeah, the nut today. Anyways, he talks to the press on Air Force One. Here you go.
Nice plane. Everyone having a good time. We'll be back in Washington soon.
What are you, the fucking flight attendant? Get a picture of him talking to the press. Joe Biden never talked to the press like this. Like, yeah, he didn't bother them with nonsense, I think is really what it was.
We have a lot of good news to report, and you'll be hearing about it. Probably not now, but you'll be hearing about it.
I've got a lot of great things. Breaking news. Eventually. I suppose something's going to break. It has to, right? It has to.
We've had some good things coming out of the many war zones that were created by Biden and a group of incompetent people. But I think we...
Oh, you mean the Kremlin?
Pretty good news. So talk about...
You got some news, some pretty good news. We got some pretty good news to say. We're going to say it. I'm back here with, of course, news reporters as the president of the United States to tell you that I'm not going to tell you what it is. Anyways, yeah, it's right. You're almost, yeah, here it comes. I just want, I was trying to remember. You ever hear that old joke? How do you keep an idiot in suspense? I'll tell you later. Later or tomorrow or at all, or if it happens, pretty good. Who can say? I just wanted to take a dunk on Biden because everybody's mad at me right now.
Any questions?
Yeah. Are there any medical professionals on board that can treat psychiatric illnesses? And is the pilot suicidal yet?
President Xi this week? No plans to speak to him, but China and our people are talking about different things. Yeah.
Why did he sign some laws out?
Asked if he was going to talk to Xi Jinping this week. Next on 60 Hours. It just feels that way.
I actually think it's a higher position. I want to know that too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like Walt's getting punted over to the UN ambassador. Yeah, you totally do, bro. Your national security advisor, the guy who gives you your briefing, the guy who is the liaison from the intelligence community and the Pentagon to draft up the important details that the president will need, that position is so much lower on the totem pole than UN ambassador, an organization that you actually don't think should exist in the first fucking place. And anybody you send there, we all know you're sending there to undermine its existence and our relationship with it. Fuck off.
It's an upgrade. I think moving him there's an upgrade.
I think of it as an upgrade. Uh-huh. Yeah, see if you think the same thing while he's going through his confirmation and they bring up Signalgate again. I'm kidding. They're not going to bring up Signalgate. There'll be a new, more horrifying Hegseth fuck up between now and then.
You said that you didn't make any mistakes in your first 100 days. Was appointing Mike Waltz as your national security advisor?
No, it's irrelevant. It's not a mistake or not a mistake. It's not a big deal.
So
he was fine, and where he is, he'll do a good job.
What made you?
Yeah, I'm not taking him out of the position and moving him to the UN and literally giving him a job where he has to go through Senate confirmation so that they'll bring him in front of a committee and shame the shit out of him, and then maybe he'll lose the job kind of in I don't know, Matt Gaetz kind of a way. I'm not doing that as a negative, and I'm certainly not doing it because I have to. I was just like, I was always going to do this. I was always like, you know what a great way to prime somebody for UN ambassador? Get him to be my NSA for 5 Scaramucci's.
Don't consider that. I didn't lose.
Or was it 9 Scaramucci's?
Why did I
you
lose
round up?
confidence? He's going to the United Nations. To me, I think it's personally, if I had a choice for myself of doing, I'd rather have that job than the other.
Right, because it has a lot less work. And if the UN ambassador fucks up, there's not a terrorist attack on the United States. if you'll recall, in 2001, the president's daily brief and the person who handed it to him kind of played rather profoundly in that whole kerfuffle.
He didn't resign. I just moved him. There's no resignation. You people are so bad. You're trying to make a big deal out of something that's not.
It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. He let a reporter into a signal group that shouldn't have existed, where Pete Hegseth dumped classified information that could have gotten our soldiers killed. So I moved him to be our representative in the UN. That's not a... Why would that be I don't know why that would be a thing. You guys...
That's why nobody watches you anymore. Who are you with?
Hey, asshole. If nobody watches them, why are you talking to them? What's the point? What's the point of getting up out of your fucking seat and standing while a plane is moving at your age to talk to a bunch of people that nobody watches anymore? Why don't you just sit in the front and fucking text Joe Rogan?
Who are you with? You with who? First. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Nobody watches hers. I didn't even know that thing existed or whatever. Well, they're up and coming. They've been giving new poll positions to nobodies.
It could very well be. Nobody understands.
That's right. Yes, you're right. You're right. Nobody understands. You fucking nonsense.
Negotiated with many countries. But at the end of this, I'll set my own deals because I set the deal. They don't set the deal. I set the deal.
Yeah, I make the deal. So they can make all the deals they want. But if I don't sign off on it on the end, deal doesn't happen. I don't care what both sides have agreed to. I don't, my trade representatives, they don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. So fucking Besant and all these guys can talk to their blue in the face with all these countries, and then I can just roll in and veto the whole fucking thing if I feel like it, whatever, because, stability.
Ripping us off for years. I set the deal. Every country, almost without fail.
Nonsense. Asshole. Us having a trade deficit with everyone is part and parcel to us having the biggest fucking economy in the world. That's how it works. Like, I don't know how many times we have to redress this. Somebody needs to bring up to him, like, we have a relationship with China and some of these other countries, like wholesaler to retailer. This is like Trump going, look, I pay my maid to clean this area, and she never pays me to clean her place, which I don't do and will never do, but she doesn't pay me to do it. So I'm going to pay her less for cleaning my room.
Friend and foe has been ripping us off for years. So we're meeting with almost all of them, including China. And at the end, I'm setting the deal. They keep saying, when are you going to... This is not like a big deal that's going to be signed. In some cases, we'll sign. But we don't have to have signed. I'm going to be setting the deal. I'll be setting a tariff. You keep asking the same question. When will you agree? It's up to me. It's not up to them. It's up to...
Right. But this is for our people to know. Like, you could call them out. You could go, hey, shit or get off the pot. I've set this date for, I don't know, fucking June 12th. If you guys don't have a deal with us June 12th, it's going to stay at this for the rest of my presidency. Get your shit together. Like, but then, of course, because he's done that already a couple of times, and then he's gone, never mind, 90 days extension. It's like the fucking TikTok thing. He's like, I think I'll punt that again until they make a deal on it. Then they're never going to make a deal. He just wants China to be able to pump that shit into the country.
They don't have to deal with us, which is okay, because we lost, under Biden, we were losing $5 billion a day. Think of it.
We were not losing it. We were buying things with that money. We were getting shit in return for it.
$5 billion a day. Now we're not dealing with China at all because the tariff's so high that they basically can't deal. And because of that, we're saving billions of dollars. We're
not saving anything. We're just not able to buy any of that stuff. We're not like, oh, look, we're saving all this money so we can just buy those flat screen TVs or whatever the fuck from Europe. Why aren't we buying these? That's what we need. Everybody needs a Russian washing machine.
But and I'm not saying this to be a wise guy with you, to be mean. I don't want to be mean to you. You're, good professional. But you do keep asking me that same question.
Yeah, it's because you don't answer it, stupid.
It's not like we're going to sit down in an ivory room and we're going to
An ivory room? He doesn't understand the ivory tower colloquialism or analogy, does he? He just ivory room. Let's go with ivory room. Fuck, Mar-a-Lago probably has an ivory room. I'm surprised he doesn't have the like chairs made out of fucking baby seal teeth.
There'll be some of that, very little. I don't see a lot of it. At some point in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm going to be setting the deal. I'm going to say that such and such a country has had a tremendous trade surplus their way with us. They've taken advantage of us in various ways. And we fully understand what they were doing. We were being led by people that were not...
Yeah, we've heard that part before. Is it going to take you 2 weeks to fucking get to the point?
Smart. They were able to be taken advantage of. But I can't be taken advantage of. So at a certain point, I'll be just setting a certain tariff number.
You'll just decide, like, fuck it. You're just going to make it up. And let me guess, 10%? How many people believe, and this is the fucked up part, that if you're going to do a pump and dump on a lot of these things, he's going to set a tariff thing for countries that's almost identical to what was before, with other, like certain countries like China being exorbitantly higher because he's picking a fight with them. But the idea is that if we had, technically speaking, he's like, we have a 20%, they're 30% with us, and all this made up shit. It's going to be, we really had 2.5%, and it's going to be 2.5%. Across the board, depending on the goods, the balance of goods coming from it. He's just going to go back to what it was and go, it was high math.
And
How far AIDS treatment in Africa? There's a waiver in place, but people are saying to my colleagues that they're still not getting medicines. And UN AIDS.
well, that shouldn't be happening. But the other thing, other countries should be helping us with that.
Oh, by the way, he's saying people in Africa are not getting AIDS medications.
And I'm a big fan of getting that solved. But, we're the only...
What did you say? Getting that solved, that thing that you were talking about? I'm a huge fan of it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Whatever you mentioned before that I've totally forgotten while I was talking, I'm a huge fan.
Where is France? Where is Germany? Where are these other countries? Nobody does anything but the United States.
No, they do. We just have the most resources, especially when it comes to, anti-HIV medications.
And we spend, billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, to do what? Save lives? What are we, a bunch of gay, Christian, Jesus-y jerk-offs? What the hell?
So they should be helping also. But as you know, we did a waiver. You know that, right?
Right.
Well, I can't help that because if we did a waiver, then you have to get your people to act properly in the waiver. But I do ask, why are we the only country doing it?
You're not the only country doing it. We're not the only country doing it. We're part of a larger group, and our part is missing. Imagine spokes on a wheel, and you need all the spokes to keep the wheel afloat, we keep it rolling. And let's say we're two of the spokes, top and bottom, because we're bigger. And you take those out, and the fucking wheel collapses. That's why. That's why it's important.
What's your timeline on the rest of your judicial nominations? And what's your criteria when you're judges?
What's your timeline on your judicial nominations and, yeah.
The future judicial nominations for the federal judge positions?
Well, we're putting them in rapidly, and we're trying to get very good ones. I mean, we need judges that are not going to be demanding trials for every single illegal immigrant.
Okay, real quick. Not trials, assholes. Hearings. Everybody gets a hearing. It's not a trial. They're not demanding trials. No one wants a trial. You get a hearing. That's all it takes. An immigrant judge just gives you a hearing. If there's a reason for them to have a second hearing or to adjudicate the case further, and because they think you have a legit asylum case, they give you another hearing. These are not trials. The problem that he has is that he is asserting that people are criminals, that they are And that word has to have some legal fucking weight. Okay? That's the meaningful part. And the idea is that they're going through and they're just brooming fucking people, women and children. Like, there are nowhere near the number of violent criminals he told everybody there was. So they have to, that's why this whole like paying people to self-deport, they're going to fucking take that money, hide it somewhere or set fire to it, shift it over to somebody else and go, we spent it all. They all left themselves. We spent, $1 billion, which is, a million of these people left on their own. We spent $1 billion paying these people to fuck off. And you go, well, where's the receipt? Like, how do we know who got this money? And they go, they left. I don't know. And then that $1 billion shows up in fucking Trump crypto.
We have millions of people that have come in here illegally.
Nope.
And we can't have a trial for every single person.
It's not a trial, it's a hearing, stupid. It's real easy. They do it all the time. They're bench trials. It's a fucking machine. Most of the people who are caught at the border just get they get a standing hearing. They don't even go into a fucking courtroom. They're just like, nah, we caught him. You, out. Like, that's how it works most of the time. But people who've been here for a long time, you're going to have to give them at least a hearing because they may have a reason why, even if they came illegally initially, like DACA recipients or people like that, or they may have been paying taxes and been here for 20 fucking years and they've got a hold or something like that, or a case to make that they haven't been in their home country so long that if they weren't sent back, they would probably be killed or would just die because there's no support structure for them there, and they're a valuable part of our society. Like, that wouldn't be that hard. And again, still a hearing. Secondly, this idea like we're going to give all these millions of people trials. Dude, you're not even going to have to give them hearings because they don't exist. There are 10.3 million illegal immigrants in the United States. A bunch of them are fucking Canadians and Chinese people and Europeans that overstayed their fucking visas. And then there's a lot of like South American and Mexican workers who are here that Florida and Texas especially rely on for their very fucking existence. You want to get rid of everybody really fast? Guess what? You're going to have to round up people on farms owned by your buddies. You want to get rid of all these illegal immigrant workers? There's really a super easy way to do it. Throw anybody that hires them in fucking jail. Do it. If you really cared. If you're like, this is an invasion. And that's what they call it. This is an emergency. We have an invasion. There are millions of people here illegally. All right, well, anybody who's paid them a paycheck needs to go to fucking jail. How about that? Start there. You want to dry that shit up? Go for it. But he can't. You know why? Because he's hired them. Mar-a-Lago, Bedminster, Doral. They've all hired undocumented and illegal immigrants. For years. He didn't start cleaning that shit up until halfway through his first term. He'd go to jail for that. It's not even a question. Don't get me wrong, he would throw whoever, hired on his behalf under the bus, but he definitely directed them to do it. And that person, before they went to fucking jail, would go, what are you talking about? He insisted I do this, right? They'd be like, I don't know who this person is, Democrat, probably, got me coffee, that's it. Like, throw the people in jail who hire undocumented workers en masse, and it'll all dry up. But if you do that, his buddies are going to jail. And therein lies the impasse.
Would be millions of trials. The people elected me in a landslide with every single.
Wasn't a landslide.
We won every swing state. We won.
Yeah, you still got them in at most 51-49. Simmer the fuck down.
Everything there is to win by big numbers. Not only swing state, we won the popular vote by millions of votes. They elected.
Yeah, but that doesn't, Biden and Obama had bigger margins than you did by far. His popular vote margin is only big to Republicans. To Democrats, it's like it would be a pitiful showing. People would go, oh, that'll make you nervous, right?
This was the number one issue. And now we have judges that are radicalized. And
they're radicalized? He can't say radical left because they're his judges.
Because they want us to have, if you believe this.
I don't know if I do. I don't know what he's about to say, but I'm fairly certain I'm not going to believe it. I don't know. His posture says bullshit to me.
Let's have a trial for every person that came
Yeah, no. A hearing is not a trial.
illegally into our country. So they come into our country illegally, and then we're supposed to take weeks, I guess, and months to have a trial.
Nope. Just an afternoon. And if you pass the bill that the Democrats and the Republicans had worked on last year, it would have had more judges so that they could work through a lot of these folks much faster. If you're going to have a more stringent rule, here's a good idea. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. Maybe tighten the law on immigration, what the standard for asylum is in the Congress. Therefore, the Supreme Court would back you up, and therefore these judges would be able to do this whole thing a lot quicker, right? But yeah, fuck that. Just you know what I mean? Like, just boss the judges around till they do what you say. That's way better as a judicial system, sure.
On every criminal, that we have murderers all over the country.
Yeah, they're all over the country. Now, those folks, I will say, need a trial. And I don't know if you know this, but you're not actually a killer or a murderer legally until you've had a trial. Yeah. Otherwise, you're an alleged, like you're, for example, an adjudicated rapist, for example. Trump is an adjudicated rapist. A judge has said what he did to E. Jean Carroll amounts to rape in the colloquial sense and in the realistic sense in our modern parlance of the word. And I think that is right. And so he's had a trial over it. And part of that trial was the judge saying adjudicated rapist, right? That would be, and that is him getting his due process, by the way. Right. Meanwhile, these guys, if you say somebody's a murderer, that's libel until you prove it. Now, if you find out from their home country that they committed murder there, then I think the simple thing would be to go, we're not trying them for that. Their country, we're extraditing them back to their home country to face murder charges, or they broke out or whatever. And then you'd send them back in that regard. It wouldn't even be an aspect of deportation. It'd be an extradition issue. Somebody fled to your country, snuck in illegally, but ultimately it's less about the fact that they're in the country illegally and more that they are escaping justice in their home country. But that takes work. Sorry.
I don't think the Supreme Court will stand for that. I can't believe it. Because you know what? If they do, we're not going to have a country. Go ahead.
How will you make sure that the judges that you appoint are different than that?
All you can do is do the best you can.
Yeah, you never know, these judges, you put them in there and then they go all Amy Coney Barrett on you.
You're trying to appoint the best people to being judges or anything else that you appoint.
And then you end up with a Hegseth. Happen to anybody. You know what I mean? It's just like sometimes you think it's a fart, and it's just not. And you're standing there, President of the United States, mid-SOTU, going, I weigh the same, but the weight distribution is suddenly different.
But so far, we've been very disappointed with the decisions that come out, and mostly from the people appointed by others than me. But
Mostly appointed by others than me. You know what I mean? You're right. I take it back. He's a master communicator. Others than me. Others than me do bad things. And I don't like it. Fucking.
oh, hello there. So hard to believe that you have a murderer. Many, we have 11,888 or whatever the number is.
Yeah, it's probably 887 now. I don't think they all survive, right? Or whatever the number is, but it's an exact number. And it's the number for the last 20 years that have been convicted in a court of law. These are, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but the reason that number exists is because these are all people who have had, what's the word? Trials.
We have thousands of murderers in this country. We're getting them out.
Well, obviously not the ones that were born here.
You say, we don't want them out. We want them to stay in our country until they have a trial.
No. They don't need a trial. If they're a murderer, they've already had a trial. These people you're talking about are people who are already in jail, stupid, or have been for a long time. Many of them died there. That number isn't a constant number. That's a rolling number. And That's why there's about, I don't know, I want to say like 1,100 of them in federal prison for the long stretch. And here's it. I just like to throw, 11,780 is whatever it said. Like to say that the idea that you would take a vile murderer who did something fucking terrible and wiped out a whole family, rape and murder, any of that kind of stuff, and you go like, we'll show him, we'll take him out of prison and set him free at the border. We'll just release him into fucking Mexico or Venezuela. He'll never come back and enact revenge. He'll never reconnect with his buddies who helped him commit the crimes in the first place and seek to murder the witnesses that are out there now that he has access to a phone all the time that isn't tapped. It's like the Trump plan for murderers, in case you want to know, immigrant murderers who kill people specifically in the United States. This is the plan. Let's be abundantly clear. Here's Trump's plan. If you kill an American citizen, you get a free flight home. Yeah. If you're here, you can be thrown in jail or they take you by bus and just drive you to the border. But if you kill somebody, they give you a plane ride right home. Just dump you right off. And if you're not from El Salvador, you're kind of cool. It's just a wash. If you're from Venezuela, fuck it. You just get out. You'll get a private plane. You'll be in cuffs the whole fucking time till you get there. And then they take them off and you're like, all right, I'm home.
Take years. They take years. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's a fantasy.
We have a country left. We can't have that happen. Who are you with?
Who are you with? I don't know because the quality of your question will be determined by whether or not I like your organization and my ability to answer it. So if I ask you and you say Fox, then I'll know it's going to be a friendly question.
That's what I do. Well, you people treat us so badly. Wall Street Journal has truly gone to hell. Good.
Oh, the Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch. Oh, you can't say that about Rupert. I mean, the Aussies just gave you what for, my friend? They threw all their, the Aussies told Mega to go fuck themselves. Make Australia great again. We're always great. Fair dinkum. Boo. So fucking great.
They're a rotten newspaper.
They're a rotten newspaper, says the guy who can't read.
It's a rotten newspaper.
Ouch. Oh, is she going to be okay? Do they have to, give her oxygen on the flight? Boo fuckity who. It's a rotten newspaper. You get it? Huh? Listen here. I got your number, kiddo. It's a rotten rag. Yeah? Yeah. And I'll go cry yourself over the snacks that we legally have to put in the back of the thing. Whatever. The ginger ale. Whatever.
Are there any updates and talks with
I wouldn't tell the Wall Street Journal because it'd be wasting my time. There are talks, but I don't want to talk to the Wall Street Journal. But look, Wall Street.
Yeah. It's a great out. You got to give him credit for this. What a shit new ploy. We've all seen the fake news dodge that he's been doing, and he's sitting there like, your paper sucks. I just know your question's going to be shit. And he can, by the way, he can wait till they ask the question the first time and then ask what paper they're with. And then when they re-ask it, he can go, I don't have to answer that because your paper fucking sucks. But if you say a question he likes, he can just answer it. Or you're a woman and he wants to either put you in your place or, he thinks you like him.
Journal is China-oriented, and they're really bad for this country.
The Wall Street Journal is China-oriented, and they're really bad for this country. Well, there you have it. I mean, if there's ever been a bigger Russia versus China rift, that's it. Trump representing Russia and the Wall Street Journal representing China, and they're both at each other's throats. It's so sad to see two superpowers fighting in Air Force One.
Did you say you want a fair deal? You say you want a fair deal with China. What is a fair deal? Like, that you want them to...
Well, I want a fair deal with China, but China's been ripping us off for many years, so maybe something should be thought about, a little bit of retribution. China.
A little bit of retribution. We got to torture them for a little while. They've been ripping us off for so long, selling us cheap stuff. Right.
Ripping us off for many years, ever since they started. To me,
ever since they started. somewhere around the Qin dynasty. You mean when Mao took over, or just like way back when we started calling him by that name? So
The worst thing that Richard Nixon ever did. And it was Nixon. You know, he's the one that got it started.
fucking Nixon, you know what I mean? Yeah. Didn't you? Wasn't Trump like sympathetic towards Nixon for a little while? I guess that's gone.
They've taken advantage of it.
Aw. You took advantage of poor little me.
No.
Mexico's president is claiming that you offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico, and she said that she didn't want them in Mexico. Is that true?
Okay, so the president of Mexico said she doesn't want American troops in there. He said he offered them, and she's like, fuck off.
Tell us about those
So
conversations.
Mexico is saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartel. She wants to know, is that true? Do you think I'm going to answer that question?
Yes, because you said you did already.
I'm asking. We'll see.
I will answer it. It's true.
And why did you do that?
Then what the fuck was that? Just answer the fucking question. Like he just made up his mind right there. Like, oh wait, I've already answered that. Yes, I've already said that.
Because they should be. They are horrible people that have been killing people left and right. That have been. They've made a.
Mostly right. He didn't care when they were killing people on the left. It's when they started killing people on the right that he started to give a shit. Once like white college kids in Florida and Texas started dying of fentanyl overdoses, suddenly he gave a shit. He didn't give a fuck about the fentanyl and oxycodone deaths in fucking West Virginia. Rednecks can go. It's the upper middle class white kids. When that started to happen, they're like, wait a moment. What the hell? Play.
Selling drugs and destroying our people. We lost 300,000 people last year to fentanyl and drugs.
No, we didn't. To fentanyl and drugs. Yeah, I guess sometimes there are antibiotic resistant forms of gonorrhea that kill people, I guess. So like drugs that didn't work, we're gonna count everything. Every contraindication that's killed someone.
Yeah, that's true. If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in and do it. I told her that. I would be honored to go in and do it. The cartels are trying to destroy our country. They're evil. And, you know, we had 300,000 people die last year from fentanyl and all of that. We had
Fentanyl and all that. No, we did not. No.
we had millions of people brought into this country that shouldn't be here. The cartels brought them in.
Maybe 300,000 of them died. Maybe that's why the numbers don't show up. Maybe they were all these imaginary illegals that you keep saying were poured into here. Maybe that's who died of the drug. That's what happened. That's why you can't get rid of them. They all died of drug overdoses and aren't cremated or buried anywhere. They're just you drive around just seeing piles of dead migrants that smoke themselves to death. Sure, that happened.
So if she said that I offered to do that, she's 100%
Were
right.
you disappointed?
You do realize it would be true even if she didn't say it. If she said I did that, it's true. If she said I didn't do that, it's not true. She's a liar.
She denied that request, that she doesn't want.
Well, she's so afraid of the cartel she can't walk. So that's the reason.
She can't walk. Okay. By the way, that phrase, why that seems odd, right? You would say can't walk. She can't I don't know. She can't keep from panicking. She's so afraid of them. She can't even speak up about them. I don't know. Whatever. When he says she can't walk, it's because he can't walk. Because Trump's leg is bothering him again. He's doing this whole dragging his fucking right foot thing. He's worried about it. He's worried about falling down on stairs because it's getting worse, and he doesn't like to talk about it. He feels safe to walk around in these situations because there's literally a corridor and he can lean against it if there's a problem. But when he's out in the open, apparently he's very afraid of that. And so that's why he brought up the she can't walk thing.
And I think she's a lovely woman. But the president of Mexico is a lovely woman.
Great. By the way, to Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, Madam President, I'm sorry that Donald Trump speaks of these words about you, because most of the women, when he thinks that he says anything positive about them, he grabs them in short order. So just keep your distance the next time you see him.
So afraid of the cartels that you can't even think straight.
So on Friday, you told Christian Walker that
You can't think straight. What's your excuse?
a little girl this Christmas has to be $35. Maybe they just
Let's not. All I'm saying is that a young lady, a 10-year-old girl, 9-year-old
Oh, this is about the dolls.
girl, a 15-year-old girl.
A 15 year, now we're getting into the category I like. 15, 16-year-old girl might be at a beauty pageant, changing her clothes, no underwear on, barge in because I own the place and check their teeth to see like their racehorses and that kind of stuff. Maybe that girl doesn't need a doll. Maybe she just needs a free trip to Epstein's house.
Doesn't need $37. She could be very happy with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I would. Let's not waste a lot of time on a stupid question. What else?
Like, again, he keeps saying that same dismissive bullshit, and it's just something like a rich asshole would say about poor people. Like, look at all these poor people with all this stuff. How dare they? By the way, that's where all this, money printer go burr, there's too much money in circulation bullshit, it's going to drive prices up. None of that was true at all. We had inflation because of supply shock and COVID. We tried to patch a $20 trillion hole with $9 trillion. We don't have monetary inflation. That's why the Fed doesn't want to lower interest rates. Fucking dumb. But this idea that, like, everybody's just got too much stuff. These fucking poor people just got access to too many things. By the way, if his granddaughter wanted 30 dolls, she'd have 50. The idea that he's going to, like, rich people would have to cut back in these circumstances is absurd. Like, are you going to buy less stuff for your grandkids this year? That's the next question somebody should ask. Somebody could go, well, are you going to be buying fewer things for your grandkids this year? Are you going to have to cut back on what you're buying? Because how does he answer it?
Well, I don't know about it, but I'm honored if that's the case. If they're going to name a road after me, if that's the case, I'm honored. Thank you very much.
Thank you for naming the road after me. The lady who said they might name a road after me. And I think a lot of people would be very excited to ride down Orange Shit Gibbon Boulevard.
Go ahead. Well, I have a lot of people that want the job, I can tell you. It's, a lot of people say it really works in with what Marco's doing. But we have a lot of people. I'm going to be naming somebody, but
Yeah, we got a lot of people. That's why I have like 4 people doubling up and tripling up jobs in this situation. That's why fucking Kash Patel was head of the ATF. That's why Marco Rubio's got like 4 fucking jobs. That's why. Yeah.
we'll make it. I would say within 6 months. You would do the job permanently, but I think it's an appropriate job.
Are you considering Stephen?
It is an appropriate job for a job. As jobs go, somebody might have to do it as a job. As when you have a job, somebody should do that job. I think they're called workers or some shit. I've never met one, but.
Are you considering Stephen Miller?
Stephen Miller's at the top of the totem pole. I mean, I think he sort of indirectly already has that job. You understand? Because he has a lot to say about a lot of things.
Right, but he's not informed directly from the intelligence community. He speaks off the cuff. Most of his intel comes from fucking watching Rumble videos. So there is a difference in the job.
He's a very valued person in the administration, Stephen.
Yes, absolutely. And his plan for the final solution is never better.
It's reached 100 days. What do you see as your main agenda items for the next 100 days?
I think we had the greatest 100 days in the history of our country for an administration. I think we've done more. We've gotten rid of woke. We're strengthening up our military.
That is, we have gotten rid of woke. Woke is totally gone. This Sleepy Joe, you're back to being sleepy, and this guy's exhausted. He's gotten rid of woke. He could barely stand.
6 months ago, we had the worst numbers in the history of our military for joining our military and police.
Yeah, just so you know, election year's not usually the best for it, but also the job numbers were better. As when it's easy to find, when there's a lot of jobs available and they're good paying jobs, the military has a hard time competing. But when you came in, hiring went in the shitter. And all of a sudden, the people who might have gone, oh, I'll do this, I'll work at this nearby company, are going, oh shit, if I need to make money, the only way I can do is to join the military. So the numbers go back up. It's one of the reasons why they like higher unemployment numbers on the right, is because it helps with military recruitment.
Now we have the best numbers we've ever had. Just think of that.
Not really, no. Obviously, we had better numbers right after 9/11. We had better numbers, per capita at the beginning of many wars, even in the middle of the Vietnam War, before, or early part of it, before the draft was put in place. The people were joining up, wasn't a problem. All during the Cold War, largely, because that was the idea, is that you would end up on a submarine or a ship or something like that. That there was a lot of, jingoistic fervor and all that kind of stuff that pushed it. There was a dip largely during the Obama years and during Biden, because the job market gets good and people have options. Doesn't mean they're less patriotic. They're just going to choose a job that maybe you don't get your feet blown off.
Not even possible. Inflation's down. All
Nope.
costs are down. Everything is down.
Yes, the stock market's down. Your 401k is down.
As Tristan said, the
Kristen?
that you carry the babies around in. But
The thing you carry the babies around in. Your belly? I don't know. Ladies, you'll have to answer this one. We're all very ignorant here.
all costs are down. Everything is down.
Yeah, Kirsten Welker. Just re-listen. Yeah, Kirsten Welker. Here we go.
Other than, as Tristan said, the
Tristan, sure.
thing that you carry the babies around in. But that's up 3%.
When you're doing something, when you have the baby and you're going for a walk, there's a word on a roll. When you're going for a roll, it's a roller. No, that's not it. When you're standing still or rolling, if you put those things together so you can stand and roll, the carriage, pram. That's the word I'm looking for.
Energy's down, gasoline's down. Nobody's ever seen anything far ahead of schedule. So
Far ahead of schedule, because the oil stuff has nothing to do with what your policies at all.
people that were paying a lot for groceries, they're paying a lot less.
Nope.
And interest rates are even down. We have a very
Nope.
stubborn Fed, but Fed should lower, but that's okay. But interest rates are down, mortgage rates are down. That's pretty amazing.
Is it? Let's see. Oh, there's your mortgage rates news. Whoops. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. 7 hours ago. 30-year mortgage rates jump higher. Yeah. Way down. Look at that. Man, just fucking incredible. They're way down, especially versus March 4th. They were they're back to February 5th numbers, I guess. They're literally it's higher than it was in February. On February 5th, or what it came in at. Yeah, 695. It was 679. There's 693. Why does that seem to be higher than this on here? But okay. If you draw a straight line, I'd need 685. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, they came down from April 11, and then went, I'm not doing that. Get out of the way. And they're going back up. Good job. Yep, sure. Okay. Loan type purchase. There we go. 30-year is 695. FHA 30-year fixed is 7.3. 15-year fixed is 5.9. Jumbo 30-year fixed is 6.9. 5/6 ARM is 720. That's the one that'll bite in the ass, the adjustable rate mortgage. Right? There you go. Let's see. It was 6.5. Here's the 30-year fixed on a what? I don't know what this is. The veterans rates. Okay, that's okay. These are what they're actually offering. So here's a 30-year fixed, 7.5 from Rocket Mortgage. Yeah, I don't know what I don't want to click on this because it'll take me to an ad or something like this. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're doing great. Here's 2021, 2022. There's where's the height of 2023? October 2024. Then they started to come down, and then they just flatlined. They're just basically back to here. Yeah. And that's where they're going to balance out because it's about what the Fed is doing. It's basically in line with the Fed. There's just people were worried about the job market a couple of times, and that's why they spiked up, and it's going to get worse. that part's going to get way fucking worse.
I don't think there's ever been a better opening 100 days. We have a lot of fake polls where they interview Democrats, not Republicans, but
yeah, but in all fairness, we really, really, really fucking hate you because you're an adjudicated rapist and you were friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years. So on top of that, we don't like your policies, but it's on a really strong foundation of fuck you, dude.
meaning more Democrats. I had a pollster that said to me, a legitimate pollster, John
Yeah.
McLaughlin, top person.
John
Said
McLaughlin.
he's never seen polls that were so fake before.
Yeah, he said that to you? Yeah. Did his breath smell like bourbon? Did he keep spitting on your neck while he was talking into your ear?
They overweight the Democrats.
Yeah, that's what they do. They overweight them because there are fewer Republicans or people willing to admit they are Republicans right now. I don't know what. We call people up and go, are you a Republican? They're like, no, click. Well, before the election, everybody was glad to say they were.
And I only bring that up because I think it's something that should be said. It's a shame how dishonest the media is. The media is corrupt and they're dishonest, and they're so bad for our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
On that note, I've got to take a shit. That was okay. That's the end of that little piece. We made it through. Ugh. This is, let's see, where are we on this one? By the way, hit the like, share the show. And chat room. I don't know. We have? I feel like we had a couple of maggots do a drift by at some point, and I want to reiterate what I say to all the trolls here so they know. I know some of you are here, maybe for the first time, and I want you to know we're glad you're here. I know you feel like a failure. You're throwing around your bullshit and you're trying to provoke, and it just doesn't work in my crowd. It just doesn't. They don't take the bait. They laugh at you, and yet you stick around. And so I think that's really good on you. And I want to thank you for sharing us out into the algorithm in a way that no one else can. Because, like-minded viewers, if I show up in there, also watch thing on YouTube or something like that, that's expected. It's not going to change the nature of the algorithm. But when I show up in yours, and some people who watch similar things that you really want to watch, not the stuff you hate watch, like me, when it lines up with that, then they have to see me, and then they're like, who the fuck? What? I love this guy. And then they watch and they're like, oh my God, he's so smart, and he doesn't give us a break on anything because he actually cares about the country and people. Even if he thinks we're complete assholes, he still sees our humanity. And I think that's the key, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to thank the maggots for being here. I would like to remind you guys that if you would like to stay in the chat, all I ask is that you don't drop any racial epithets or anti-gay slurs or those kind of things. Use your big boy words if you have them. Describe your bigotry in long form prose as opposed to just using the nasty words. I'm just saying. Okay, so I appreciate that, because let me tell you something. I don't know if you know this. Your friends don't like it either. Your friends think you're an asshole when you drop those bombs, and they wish you wouldn't, because but they know, quite frankly, they take it as part of the package because they know you can't grow. Or they assume that. I will say I don't think that's true. I think they think that. I think they think you can't grow, that you basically ended your intellectual growth. You're just stunted, and you're going to stay a dumb, self-involved bigoted motherfucker the rest of your life. And I want you to know, I don't think that's true. I think there's hope for you after all. You will need to shower, though. That's just right out of the gate. You're going to have to do that. But, you know, after that, after the shower, use soap. I know RFK Jr. says you don't have to use soap, and I know Pete Hegseth never washes his hands and doesn't believe in germs, which is exactly something you want in a SecDef who might have to deal with a bioweapon and travels overseas a lot. Wow. And shakes hands with the troops all the time. Oh, I mean, I'm just saying, if you were a Russian scientist looking for a way to kill off half of the active armed forces of the United States, would there be an easier way to do it? Yeah, okay. Anyway, so clean your stupid ass up, use your big boy words, and you're welcome to hang around. And by the way, I want to remind you also that when you write in, you say something in there. Well, I mean, I dare you. That's all I'm saying. And now you're sitting back, you're not going to feel like you're going to write something, you chicken shit. But I'm baiting them to do it, because when they write something, the algorithm knows I'm engaging. So there you go. Just saying. Shh, but don't tell them. So anyways, like, subscribe, share the show. I mean, come on, kids. Whatever your social media thing is, like, oh, check this guy's show out. He's fucking awesome. And everyone who sees it will go, even if I hate every word out of his mouth, you're absolutely right. The dude is charming and smart and gives a shit. It's the cross I have to bear. Sorry.